Once upon a time in the Ashanti kingdom, beneath the canopy of Ghana's dense forests and vibrant hills, a baby girl was born in 1840 in the town of Besayas, near Ejisu. Her arrival marked more than a family celebration. It marked the birth of a future legend. Her name, Yaa Asantewaa, carried strength and leadership in its syllables. Born into the royal lineage of the Ashanti, Yaa was destined for greatness. Ashanti society was matrilineal, meaning leadership and inheritance passed through the mother's line. Women, especially queen mothers, played influential roles in decision-making and governance. Young Yaa Asantewaa grew up surrounded by the wisdom of her elders, watching women engage in agriculture, commerce, and politics. Her early life was steeped in Ashanti customs, communal responsibilities, and a sense of duty to protect and guide her people. The Ashanti kingdom, at that time, was a dominant empire in West Africa. Its power was built on its vast gold wealth, thriving trade networks, and resilient military might. The kingdom's spiritual heart rested in the Golden Stool. More than a symbol of kingship, it embodied the soul of the Ashanti people. But the world beyond the Ashanti forests was changing. The British Empire, already established on the Gold Coast, was advancing inland with dreams of wealth and control. British colonial ambitions clashed with Ashanti sovereignty, setting the stage for confrontation. As she matured, Yaa Asantewaa married a local chief and bore children, yet her role in leadership deepened rather than diminished. She became the Queen Mother of Ejisu, a position of immense influence. In Ashanti culture, queen mothers were advisors, kingmakers, and protectors of the kingdom's values. Yaa's voice carried weight in the royal court. The British colonialists sought to destabilize the Ashanti leadership through treaties and military campaigns. They began undermining Ashanti trade, seized territories, and forced their governance over African lands. Tensions escalated as cultural misunderstandings and imperial arrogance fueled resentment. The pivotal moment came in 1896. The British, led by Governor Sir William Maxwell, demanded the Ashanti king. "Prempeh, I surrender the Golden Stool, a spiritual artifact no foreigner was permitted to touch." King Prempeh refused, unwilling to desecrate Ashanti heritage. In retaliation, the British exiled Prempeh, his mother, and other leaders to the Seychelles Islands, leaving the kingdom without its monarch. The Ashanti people were leaderless, and morale wavered. The British assumed this would make the Ashanti submit. But in the shadows of Kumasi's royal palaces, a fierce leader rose. Yaa Asantewaa, refusing to let her people's spirit die, called a council of Ashanti chiefs and leaders in 1900. In the face of hesitation from the male chiefs who feared the might of the British army, Yaa Asantewaa delivered her legendary challenge. "Now I have seen that some of you fear to go forward to fight for our king. If it were in the brave days of Osei Tutu, Okomfo Anokye, and Opoku Ware, leaders would not sit back and allow their king to be taken away without firing a shot. No white man could have dared speak to the Ashanti chiefs in such an insolent fashion. Today, we must fight." Her fiery words ignited courage in their hearts. She became the commander-in-chief of the Ashanti army, an unprecedented role for a woman. Warriors, men and women alike, rallied behind her call to defend their soul, the Golden Stool. The British thought they had quelled Ashanti resistance, but they had underestimated the spirit of a queen. Under Yaa Asantewaa's leadership, the Ashanti launched what became known as the Yaa Asantewaa War of 1900, or the War of the Golden Stool. With strategic brilliance, Yaa Asantewaa orchestrated a siege on the British fort in Kumasi, where British officials and soldiers had barricaded themselves. She mobilized thousands of warriors who used guerrilla tactics, fortified the city, and cut off British supply lines. The Ashanti warriors knew their land intimately, giving them an advantage in maneuvering through the forests. The war was intense. British reports described the Ashanti as relentless and highly organized. Though armed mostly with traditional weapons, spears, bows, and muskets, the Ashanti fighters compensated for their lack of modern arms with fierce determination and intimate knowledge of the terrain. The British eventually called reinforcements from Sierra Leone and Nigeria, bringing modern artillery and Maxim machine guns. They launched brutal counterattacks, burning villages and capturing towns. Despite suffering great losses, Yaa Asantewaa refused to surrender. She inspired her warriors to keep fighting, her leadership unwavering amidst the chaos of war. But the British military might prove overwhelming. By the end of 1900, the Ashanti strongholds had fallen. Yaa Asantewaa, along with key leaders, was captured. The war ended in British victory, but they could not claim the Golden Stool. Hidden by the Ashanti priests and elders, the Golden Stool remained untouched by foreign hands, preserving the Ashanti soul. After her capture, Yaa Asantewaa was exiled to the Seychelles, where she spent her remaining years. Even in exile, she was revered by the Ashanti, and remembered across Africa as a symbol of resistance and female leadership. Yaa Asantewaa passed away in exile in 1921. She never saw her beloved homeland again, but her sacrifice was not in vain. Her leadership had preserved the spirit of the Ashanti people, and her war became one of the final major resistances against colonial rule in West Africa. The Golden Stool, the essence of the Ashanti identity, remained in Ashanti hands, untouched by the British. While the kingdom was subdued under colonial administration, its cultural identity and resilience remained strong. The Ashanti never forgot the fierce Queen Mother who dared to rise when others fell silent. Yaa Asantewaa's story lived on through oral traditions, folklore, and history lessons in Ghana. In 1957, decades after her death, Ghana became the first sub-Saharan African country to gain independence from colonial rule, a victory built on the foundations laid by leaders like her. In 2000, on the centenary of the Yaa Asantewaa War, the Yaa Asantewaa Museum was established in Ejisu to honor her memory. Though the museum suffered a fire in 2004, efforts to restore her legacy never ceased. Statues of her stand tall in Ghana, and her name is a rallying cry for women's rights and African sovereignty. Her legacy spread beyond Ghana. Pan-African leaders such as Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, and later Nelson Mandela drew inspiration from Yaa Asantewaa's courage. She was a forerunner of the African liberation movement and a reminder that African women had always played vital roles in leadership and resistance. Her story challenges gender stereotypes, showing that leadership and bravery are not bound by gender. She was a queen, but also a general, a mother, and a revolutionary. Yaa Asantewaa's life is not simply a tale of battle. It is a story of courage in adversity, leadership in crisis, and legacy beyond death. In standing against the colonial might of the British Empire, she did not just defend a stool or a kingdom, she defended the right of her people to define their own destiny. The world remembers her not because she was a queen, but because she led when others hesitated. She stood up, spoke out, and acted when history demanded it. Through her example, the Ashanti people, and indeed all oppressed peoples, learned that even in the darkest hour, resistance is possible. The British may have captured her body, but they could not imprison her spirit. Yaa Asantewaa lives on in the hearts of those who refuse to be silent in the face of injustice.